On August 16, 2025, the skies over Illinois turned violent. What began as scattered storms erupted into a 17-hour onslaught that stretched deep into August 17th. Straight-line winds howled at 70 miles per hour, torrents of rain swallowed streets, and hailstones the size of softballs shattered windows. Belvidere was the first to fall, but the fury swept through Palatine, Algonquin, and beyond, leaving neighborhoods dark and rivers running where roads once stood. This was no passing storm. It was a relentless strike that left Illinois battered, breathless, and bracing for what might come next. Belvidere, ground zero of the storm. At 4 p.m. on August 16th, emergency crews in Belvidere began responding to a flood of calls, over 50 within hours, as intense microburst winds ripped through the area. Trees were uprooted, power poles snapped, and vehicles crushed. Power was knocked out to around 2,000 homes and businesses. Unforming chaos across the collar counties, northern Illinois' unstable heat index values between 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit set an explosive stage. Storms intensified through the evening, exploding into a mesoscale convective system that carried destructive straight-line winds from Algonquin to St. John, Indiana, between 2 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. In areas like Belvidere, Cary, Sugar Grove, Palatine, and Romaville, gusts likely exceeded 70 miles per hour. McHenry County, trees topple, streets flood. Earlier in the day, around 4 p.m., Saturday, a thunderstorm tore through McHenry County, snapping massive trees, downing power lines, knocking out lights from Fox River Grove to Woodstock, and flooding streets. Chicago takes on water. On the backside of the wind event, storms regenerated and dumped staggering amounts of rain, 2 to 4.5 inches per hour, across the western and southern metro areas. In Oswego, private stations recorded 6.02 inches total. 5.42 inches fell between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., triggering flash flooding. Watch as viaducts in Archer Heights and Gage Park turned into raging rivers. Cars were submerged on 47th Street and Archer Avenue. The Stevenson Expressway flooded at Pulaski, halting traffic. In Lisle, nearly 2.5 inches of rain poured down in just 45 minutes. A flash of lightning, a city in peril. On August 18th, another wave of storms swept over Chicago, bringing a dazzling and dramatic triple lightning strike across downtown skyscrapers. Flooding persisted. O'Hare Airport recorded nearly 2 inches of rain, while parts of northwestern Indiana saw more than 5 inches. In Oswego, rising floodwaters forced a school to shift to online learning. Power lines down, lives disrupted. At the storm's peak, a major utility operator had nearly 250,000 homes in the Chicago area affected by wind and hail damage. Throughout Kane and McHenry counties, outages were widespread. Crews scrambled to restore service as streets cleared of trees and debris. A disaster declared, recovery begins. On August 21st, the state of Illinois issued a disaster proclamation, unlocking state and potential federal resources to assist flood-impacted residents. Cook County also launched a storm and flood damage survey, urging affected residents to report damage by August 22nd, enabling officials to assess aid eligibility. The aftermath, cleanup and resilience. In Belvidere, crews and utility teams are still removing fallen trees, clearing roads, and repairing lines. Residents have been told to avoid power line collisions and wait for crews to make areas safe. In Kane County, local officials are collecting damage reports to determine eligibility for disaster declarations and assistance. Recovery is underway, but slow, deliberate, and community-driven. Why was this storm so severe? Meteorologists point to an extremely unstable, heat-fueled atmosphere on August 16th, which primed the region for explosive storm growth. When storms developed, they merged into a powerful system that sustained destructive winds and gave way to torrential back-end rain. The result, no tornadoes, but microbursts and straight-line winds proved every bit as devastating.
Despite the intensity of the storm, no flooding or casualties have been reported.
What comes next? Officials caution that the danger isn't over. Through August 18 to 19, scattered thunderstorms could ignite again, unleashing damaging winds, large hail, and even an isolated tornado. Flash flooding remains a serious threat, especially in already saturated areas. Communities are urged to remain vigilant, prepare emergency plans, and follow updates closely as the unstable atmosphere slowly begins to settle. Illinois may have endured one strike, but the skies still hold more. This was no ordinary storm. It was a siege that scarred Illinois. Winds tore through suburbs, hail shattered skylines, and floodwaters swallowed streets. Yet, in the aftermath, communities stand shoulder to shoulder, proving resilience is stronger than the storm. But now deeper questions remain. Could our infrastructure withstand an even greater disaster? Are leaders prepared for the next strike? And how ready are we as individuals when the skies turn violent? If you found this report informative, share it to keep your community aware and subscribe for more updates that matter.